Lately, I've been speaking about anger, and today I'm going to talk to you about what I am angry about, how I ground that, and how I live with that. Okay, what am I angry about? I am angry about how our government, our protective laws do not actually protect women in the world, especially in Australia as well. So there's statistics on this, and so many people that are speaking about this at the moment too. Now, women do not get protected, so what do we do about it? This is what I believe we do about it, is we need men and women now to work on this, to do the work on this, and I'll go into that. But I'm angry about this. I'm angry about the entitlement that men have, from the most predatory men to the more subtle men who want external validation to make themselves feel better. So for women to make them feel better, and if that means that they force their way into speaking with them or being around them or doing inappropriate things for women to be in contact with them, then that's a problem for me. Now, we're going to speak about the more subtleties because that's what I've been experiencing, and even maybe to a bit more of the extreme as well. And the subtleties come into play when it's, especially through like dating. I've been single now and I was in a long-term relationship, so I didn't know much about this. I didn't experience much about this. I only heard about it in the media. But now, as a single person, I go out, I go hiking, I go to the beach, I go running, and I see and have been experiencing the more subtle versions of taking energy, predatory energy, that's there to validate a man. And there's a problem with this. Women are not as strong as men. We are conditioned to fear men. So this is a conditioning that we have. So what happens when a man approaches you, or what happens when a manipulative man approaches you? I'm not saying don't approach women. I actually think it can be done in very creative, thoughtful ways where people can be authentic. I've had someone approach me in an authentic, direct way, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Learn how to do that. What I have witnessed is men who are manipulative, have used pickup artistry behavior and skills and tools from like groups that they've been a part of to be validated. So it's men who have sex addictions, it's men who do not have your best interests at heart. They actually just want to feel good, to have access to you. They're entitled to you. So I've experienced this, going to the beach. I felt someone was watching me, and what I noticed when I looked up into the bushes on the bank was a man with a long lens camera. How disgusting is that? Viewing it, looking down where I was swimming and where other women were swimming too. That is not okay. So what do we do in these situations? This is where men need to come in. So it's calling other men out. It's seeing when men are being creepy or predatory, or even when men are speaking about other women in ways where they think she wants them, or there's some just in negative ways. We need to have men support women to feel safe. So if you see something like that, you go up to that guy and say it, because it's not up to women to do it. We are not as strong. We are not, it's not our area to be fighting another man. So gone are the days, and which I don't know if it ever existed, where we just need to be kind and polite and think that strangers have our best interests at heart. I had a man approach my friend and I to say, can you help me? And no, we cannot help you. Why? Not because we're not empathetic, kind people, but because our safety is more important than helping you right now. And if you as a man need help and you're a stranger in the streets and there's other people around, you ask another man. So why is this important? Women have been conditioned to say yes when they mean no. And this is through fear-based parenting. This is through even if you've had violent-based parenting too. So if you've been conditioned to say yes when you mean no, if a man comes in and you're scared of them and they they ask you to do something, you will probably say yes out of the discomfort of saying no. Also minimizing your intuition. Your intuition might be like, this is unsafe. I don't want to be here. I feel very uncomfortable. And your mind might say, don't be a bitch. Don't be horrible. You're being dramatic. So this is the conditioning that we've had. This is what makes me angry. So I had an experience where a man approached me and I did not show any consent to being approached. There was no eye contact. There was no open body language. There was no, when he walked past, I did not look at him. And then he inserted himself into my, kind of energy and started asking me a number of questions, which I was not open to, and I did not ask him any in return. I ended up saying to him, you're asking me a lot of questions. I would like to get back to my work. And then he defended himself and justified why he was asking these questions and said, oh, you're just a beautiful woman and I wanted to get to know you. And, I thought we could get to know each other and maybe learn something. And at no point did he ask me whether that was something I wanted. So if I have any advice to give men out there about approaching women, make eye contact first. Notice if she wants you to approach. Does she have open body language? Tune in when you approach. Ask, is it okay if I ask you some questions? If it's a maybe, it's a no. If it's a no, it's a no. If it's a yes and the yes is confidently she's saying yes, then it's a yes. But it doesn't mean that she needs to continue talking to you. She can leave that discussion at any point. Always check in with her. Does she want to speak to me? Here's the difference. I think men who want these external validation have taking energy, resent women. And I believe that they have this fantasy about themselves where they think they're a catch. They're amazing. She wants to talk to me as if she wouldn't want to talk to me. Here's how you can approach it differently. Does she want to talk to me? Is she showing signs of wanting to talk to me? That would be the main question that I would ask. Is she looking at me back? Is she smiling? If she isn't looking at me back, if she looks away, maybe that's an indicator. Check in. When I ask her, is she enthusiastically saying yes, or is it kind of a bit like, not really? Because that's probably a no. Check in again. So the thing that stops men from doing this is the fantasy that they are the catch, that she would benefit, that there's an entitlement there. This is what frustrates me. So what am I doing about this? How have I grounded this frustration? I work with women around boundaries and intuition and how the mind minimizes their fear. Now, this is deep conditioning and trauma responses that we have. And so in order for us to work with this, we need to start to understand how we actually minimize our discomfort and how we've been conditioned to do that. This is what helps me sleep at night, knowing what's going on out there. For myself, how I deal with it in public, I'm getting better and quicker at saying no and asking someone to move along. I'm getting, I'm reflecting on how can I do things differently. For example, that person that was outside at the beach with the long lens camera, what could I have done differently there? I'm thinking about this stuff. I'm thinking about how I can call people out more in this space. I don't believe it's my job to do that, and I don't want to do that. I would love for men to come in and step into these spaces and to take matters in their own hands, because the government is not doing this. What that means is protect your women, protect other women that you might not even know. If someone is showing any sort of subtle abuse, creepiness, anything like that, step in and know that this fantasy that some men have out there that women want to be approached is just a delusional fantasy that you have, and the reason why you have that fantasy is because it makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you validate the part of you that thinks you're amazing, a kind, generous person, when in reality those may not be the truth of the matter. It's pretty hard hitting. So if you're a man that's listening to this and feel uncomfortable about it, do the inner work. Why do I feel so uncomfortable about what she's bringing in here? This is the only way that we can fight back and we can take things into our hands, is to work with this in this space as women, really doing the inner work to build your protector, to build that part of you, because we've been conditioned to give it to someone else, to get other people to protect us, and we really need to protect ourselves from the very beginning, from that sort of subtle behavior, predatory, takey behavior. We're very intuitive and we know when something's not quite right. It's our mind that comes in that minimizes it. So that is how I ground anger. I work with it. I bring it into my practice and see where I have power here. Like, what can I control? I can't control other people approaching me, but I can definitely have some power over the response I have. And that takes time, practice. It takes self-reflection and knowing what my nervous system does in those situations.